That's how you want to play it? All right, go nuts. Prove everybody wrong. Prove me wrong. Good morning to you. Good. Wednesday morning, I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is Daily Shot of Pirates. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or hockey, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Penguins in the same place that you found this. Pirates 7, Giants 6 last night at PNC Park. That was in 10 innings, and I'm not even coming close to describing how it came about because the home team was down 4 runs entering the bottom of the 9th. O'Neal Cruz with the third of his hits on the evening, driving in the tying run. Nick Gonzalez winning it in the 10th with a single up the middle, bringing home the automatic runner. And yeah, okay. What does one do with all of this? Does one say, gee, it sure looked like an L for most of the night and kind of felt like a lot of the other L's of late? Or do you say, give him credit for sticking with it, for being tough? Give Derek Shelton credit, which I know very few people are inclined to do anymore, but I've been doing it consistently in one specific facet, and not many more than this, but one for sure, and that's that they don't quit. They have something tenacious about their personality, the team, together. And there's no way that that doesn't reflect well on the manager. That's true 100 times out of 100 in either direction. And these guys, wow. I mean, it's hard to believe that it even happened, except for a couple of things that you might want to circle here from an individual standpoint. Cruz, of course, leaps out 3 for 5 with an RBI, and I get a little bit eye-rollish, if you will, at all the references to exit velocity. It seems like more people talk about the exit velocity now than they do about the result. And I understand the value of measuring it, but I don't understand it bringing it up with every single bit of contact. That said, for Cruz to drop a pop-up that hands San Francisco 2 early runs, and then to come back, in his own terminology afterward, ticked off, only he didn't use the word ticked, family show, enough that he'd be swinging so hard that he'd connect for the 2 hardest hits of the year across Major League Baseball. They were a single and a double, but I mean, he just murdered these baseballs. And he did so by his own accounting, because he wanted to try to make up for having messed up early on. That's cool. That's a glowing positive for this team. I mentioned Gonzalez with the walk-off, 2 for 5 with the RBI. He's now batting. He's only been up for 11 games, so nobody's losing their mind over this, but he's batting .282 with a .772 OPS. And for whatever it is that you would find this to be worth, he's coming through when he's needed. There are differing views on whether or not clutch exists. The stats people say, no, it doesn't at all. It's just randomness. It's luck. But the people who actually play and coach and manage the games will tell you that it takes something different for a hitter to be able to step into the box and to just continue to be their best selves as opposed to shrinking from that duty. That's a plus. Ji-hwan Bae comes up and goes 1 for 3 with a walk, single and a walk, a couple of runs. This was out of the 9 hole, which is interesting because Andrew McCutchen was left at leadoff, as he should be. 2 for 5 with an RBI for Kutch. So what's being put together? I don't know. Rowdy Tellez is still on the roster, although I'm going to continue to remind you that my reporting is that he could not have survived a rough weekend at Wrigley, and my belief is that when Ke'Bryan Hayes is activated from the IL, Rowdy will be gone. I've also mentioned Jack Suwinski. Well, Jack went 1 for 3 with a walk. Really, really good running catch into the notch. And that's not just one swing, one home run, and let's keep Jack around for another month. There's a bit more of a shape to that. And if you're looking for a pattern to anything that I'm bringing up here, you're not going to find one, because sometimes baseball is just chaos theory, chaos theory in action. Different things will happen, some of them unexpected, some of them overdue, some of them just part of the plan. And when things begin to go well for a team, and I'm nowhere near making such a pronouncement about the Pirates, it can come from something like this as opposed to what it is that we expect. Now, that said, there's been a little bit of a change with the lineup, with the personnel. I'm talking about Gonzalez. I'm talking about Bay. I'm even talking about Yasmani Grandal coming up after Henry Davis had struggled so much. Little stuff, a hit here or there. That can add up and begin making the bigger picture look that much healthier. There's also been, and players have talked about this, more of an aggressive approach at the plate. Heck, Shelton brought it up himself in Milwaukee, said that they want to start doing that. They want to start swinging at pitches earlier in counts. Why they've started to do that now when they hadn't done it for 3 years, I can't answer that. I'm not a fly on the wall in those rooms, but I can relay when the manager says it out loud. And when the players, notably Brian Reynolds, say it out loud. So a lot of, stuff here and there coming from various directions, but all ending up choo-chooing into the same station. And now, of course, the two Wonder Boys are going at it. Jared Jones tonight, Paul Skeens tomorrow afternoon. We'll see. When we come back, J1Q. This portion of Daily Shot of Pirates is brought to you by our friends at North Shore Tavern. That's directly across Federal Street from PNC Park. It's home of Steak on a Stone, an eating experience, underscoring the word experience. The steak is brought to you partially cooked on an 800-degree stone, and you do the rest. It's a ton of fun, it's a great meal, and it's a baseball atmosphere like no other in Pittsburgh. North Shore Tavern, right across Federal Street from PNC Park. Today's J1Q comes from Mark, and it's about the Pirates Hall of Fame selections yesterday. 3 additions: Barry Bonds, Jim Leland, Manny Sanguian, all deserving, yes, including Bonds, within the parameters of what this particular hall is all about. There is no accounting anywhere of Bonds having cheated while he was wearing a Pittsburgh uniform. So everything that he did with the Pirates, notably 2 MVPs, something no other player, by the way, in franchise history has achieved, but then that's only really because Honus Wagner predated the MVP awards. He probably would have won a bunch of them. And as I've stated all along, including in my full decade of robustly rejecting Bonds from the main Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, this was always going to be a place for him. Now, to the Q, it comes from Mark, who says, DK Vern Law, who's 93, was the best Pirates starter in my lifetime, and again they bypassed him. I guess they want him to die before they elect him. I don't know that we needed to be all dramatic like that, Mark. The people who make these choices care a lot about the franchise, and as I think you've seen them exhibit, they care a lot about the people who've made the franchise over the course of 143 years. That said, I happen to agree with you. Mr. Law, by the way, is now 94. He turned 94 in March. He pitched for the Pirates from 1950 to 1967. All of those years, all of them, were in Pittsburgh. His real achievement, because he didn't win Cy Youngs, he didn't have some super sterling, spotless ERA over the course of his career. So the achievement is seen as his longevity and his duration, his tenure with one franchise, which even then, before free agency and everything else, 17 years was a remarkable career. Where I take exception to Mr. Law not being in the Pirates Hall yet is that he played an integral role in the 1960 World Series championship team. He was 20-9 in the regular season back when pitching wins meant something. He was very good against the Yankees, particularly the Yankees' best hitters in that series. And Mr. Law himself has cited his overall work in 1960 as his greatest point of pride as a pitcher. Now, I can throw in parenthetically that Mr. Law in 1955 had an 18-inning start in which he mowed down the Milwaukee Braves all day long, holding Hank Aaron, of all people, to a 1-for-8 in the box. No pitcher after that ever logged as many innings, and you had better believe, given the way pitch counts are monitored today, you will never ever see its like again. In a broader sense, I've long been of the opinion that Mr. Law is one of the 5 best pitchers in franchise history, without numbering them all for you right this moment. He's absolutely within that handful. It's not a great group. We've talked about that on this program. The next truly great Pittsburgh pitcher will be the first, and maybe he's pitching tonight or tomorrow, by the way. But I gotta tell you, there's a need for a human element in this. I don't want to lose an Elroy Face before he gets the honor. I don't want to lose a Dick Groat before he gets the honor. And I don't want to lose Mr. Law before he gets the honor. And I think that's something that should be weighed. It's one thing to debate people from the very, very distant past, and I'm of the strong belief that Babe Adams needs to be in one of these classes before long. And now we're talking about somebody from the previous turn of the century. But here's hoping that this can be done sooner rather than later. I appreciate the question. I appreciate the sentiment. I appreciate embracing the history of this team, as you can tell by the way that I've been doing my whole life. Thanks so much for listening to Daily Shot of Pirates. We're going to do another one of these tomorrow.